Welcome to an all-new episode of St. Louis Presents. And Debbie, you usually like socialize in pretty high circles, but even more so lately.
Well, it was a really exciting time recently. Kevin Costner was in St. Louis to do a red carpet premiere of his movie Black or White.
That looks so interesting.
It really was a good movie, and it was kind of a communal experience because it's about, you know, black and white interrelations, but in a way that I hadn't really seen before, and people in the theater were laughing and crying. And so Kevin Costner did this great red carpet thing where he shows up with Ozzie Smith and Bill DeWitt III, and it was really like a who's who of famous St. Louisans going down the red carpet.
Yeah, so you hung out all night and everything. Right.
Well, I did get to meet him twice, so that was really nice. That night at the red carpet and then the next day.
Yeah,
so.
and there's a little image of what's going on there.
Yeah, Ozzie Smith gave him a Crash jersey, you know, for his Bull Durham character. So
nice.
That was kind of fun. He was a super nice guy.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Well, a little bit later, we're going to find out about some exciting developments down around the Arch grounds. You know, that's an ongoing project, and they've gotten to some really good phase of it. We're going to hear about that. And also, you're going to be talking about weight loss. I made a resolution last year to lose a little weight, and I did. And a lot of people do that.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the opposite. I think a lot of people make resolutions to lose weight, and then they don't. They just gain another 5 and then or 10 and then readdress the next New Year. So we'll hopefully have some good tips on that for you. We'll learn more about what's happening on the Arch grounds, and that's all coming up next on this edition of St. Louis Presents. Stay with us. Well, it's a new year, and for many of us, that means a new resolution to lose weight or to live a healthier life and get in shape. Bryant K. Mitchell of BKM Fitness is joining me with some tips to help us get off on the right foot. And thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Debbie. Appreciate it.
You know, I'm sure that you would agree, as Steve and I were saying in the open, that people make that resolution, but for the vast majority of people, it doesn't stick. So let's talk about some of the things, some of the reasons, or maybe some of the ways people can make it stick this year. And I guess the first is, you really have to be serious. It's not something that you can half-heartedly go into, losing weight and getting in shape.
Oh, absolutely. You know, when I heard Steve say that, you know, I made a resolution to lose weight, I was sitting over there cringing. I was like, oh, another New Year's resolution that won't be met. You know, research has shown that 80 to 90% of the people who make a New Year's resolution, period, especially to lose weight, they end up giving it up within 2 weeks. You know, so I tell people, you know, don't make a resolution to lose weight. Just make a resolution to be healthier and fit. And you start off with small goals. Small goals are more obtainable than those big, huge goals. For example, I'm going to work out 5 days a week. It's probably not going to happen. You know, I'm going to work out 30 minutes twice a week. And as you see results, then you pick it up as you go along. You're going to make every excuse possible to not go to the gym and work out for an hour or 2 hours. So small goals. Don't make these big resolutions that you know you're not going to stick to.
And what I tell people is that it's very important to exercise for your physical health and to just be healthier, but to lose the weight, you need to focus on what you're sticking in your mouth. And people forget that portion of it sometimes. And really, the only way to lose weight is to not eat all that nasty stuff. Yeah,
Debbie, that is huge. I tell my clients at BKM Fitness all the time, weight loss is 80% kitchen, 20% gym. 80% of what you put in your mouth, 20% of working out. Even that, again, you must start off small. I'm not going to tell you right away, don't eat fried foods. You know, that's pretty hard. You know, give up soda? Absolutely. Give up soda right away. You know, for example, you know, there's a big can, a 12-ounce can of soda, right? 8 ounces of that is sugar.
Yeah.
So again, you start off small, then you go big. But again, you want to start losing weight, you have to look at the nutrition first.
And a lot of people too might join a gym and then they don't feel comfortable and they don't realize that there's a lot of different kinds of gyms. Like you have your place is on South Florissant Road in Ferguson,
yes.
and you do a boot camp. Well, maybe boot camp's not for you. Maybe you don't want to go to a gym that's just guys doing bodybuilding. You kind of have to make sure that you're fitting into the right place.
Right, this can be very intimidating. Walking into a gym where there's these big, beefy guys working out and you feel completely lost. Even the boot camp, they look at boot camp, BKM, oh my gosh, that's scary. You make sure you talk to that instructor or to that trainer. Let them know your goals, your expectations, that you are intimidated by the name, the boot camp. That person should show you modifications. That's one of the things that I'm good at, at BKM, showing you modifications that anyone, any size or any age can participate.
Now, before we let you go, Bryant, I think it's so fascinating that you opened up on South Florissant Road last May.
Yes.
And then, of course, we know everything that happened in Ferguson. And you've since been featured on CNBC, Bloomberg News has done stories on it, and you have stayed open through all of it. And I'm sure you're finding that the business community is pretty united in Ferguson.
Oh, definitely. We are as a family at BKM. I tell my clients, we don't live in fear. We don't live in intimidation. We have fun. We are cautious. We are vigilant, but we have fun. People come there as a place for healing. People really are looking for a place for peace and healing, especially at a time like this. We never close our doors. And again, we're really having a good time.
Well, thank you for the inspiration, Bryant K. Mitchell, BKM Fitness Bootcamp in Ferguson.
Yes.
And Steve Potter has some news headlines he's going to share with us now.
Thanks Debbie. Appreciate it.
Did you know that stalking affected 7.5 million Americans in 1 year? Stalking is a dangerous crime that can happen to anyone. January is Stalking Awareness Month. Visit stalkingawarenessmonth.org to learn more about stalking and to find valuable resources to help you or someone you know if they're being stalked. You have the power to help know, name, and stop stalking in your community. Will St. Louis remain a football town? Just days after St. Louis Rams owner Stan Kroenke announced his intentions to build a stadium and move the team to Los Angeles, Governor Nixon's NFL task force revealed plans for a stadium on the city's north riverfront. The stadium would be built up against the Mississippi River with completion set for the 2020 NFL season. In addition to eradicating blight and redeveloping the north riverfront, the proposed stadium is expected to create over 5,000 construction jobs as well, over 2,400 game day jobs, too. And Forest Park Forever is utilizing a recent gift of $200,000 from the Gertrude and William A. Bernoulli Foundation, as well as Ward Capital Improvement Funds in the same amount, and $1.6 million in federal money to begin work on a Forest Park improvement project. Slated to begin this summer, highlights from the project include a mile-long sidewalk along Oakland Avenue, new buffered bicycle lanes, creating neighborhood connections, installing new traffic signals, and improving almost an acre of forest park land. And Forest Park keeps getting better, so everybody is in favor of that. But Debbie, it's not just Forest Park that's improving. I know that you've seen plans for the riverfront and, in fact, what they've done already.
Absolutely. Because CityArchRiver 2015 is working very hard to make the arch grounds easier to get to, safer to get to, and more enjoyable for all of the citizens and visitors.
Phase 2 of the Central Riverfront project recently began, and Ryan McClure is joining us now to tell us more about this exciting project. Ryan, I guess the whole thing began, about a year and a half ago?
Well, the whole planning process has really been going on since 2009, but we broke ground in August of 2013 on the roadway improvements and the park over the highway. So since then, if you drive downtown, it's very evident that there's a lot of construction going on, but it's going very well.
The park over the highway is probably the most visible thing that people can see right now, and it's, I think, such a great idea. I can't wait until it's just finished, because I was telling you about trying to shuttle a group of like 50 people across the street to get to the arch grounds, and it gets a little precarious. So now people will just seamlessly be able to walk over the highway and they've not even noticed the highway's there.
That's right, and that's something we're really excited about. As you mentioned, so my office is right next to where people used to cross in where your old office was at KMOX. But, I mean, you could see the fear in people's eyes as they were crossing the highway. I mean, it was a really dangerous environment. So being able to create a seamless connection from the city to the arch and to the riverfront is something that we're really excited about, and we think the community is too. You know, the arch, if you think about it, has really been separated from the city that it represents since it was completed in 1965. So we finally have an opportunity to physically connect the arch to St. Louis.
Ryan, what I've been so amazed at too, as a motorist driving by the highway through the arch over the past few months, is how traffic has not been disrupted during this major construction. I've been very impressed by that.
Oh, I tell you, MoDOT does an amazing job at disrupting traffic as little as possible in these big projects, and they've really gotten it down to a science. And I can't speak enough about how important MoDOT has been to this project. But you know, you're right, Steve. They have figured out that if you shut the highway down for a weekend and get all of that large work that you need to get done, rather than doing weeks and weeks of night closures, it's much less disruptive to the
So the highway actually, I haven't been down there in a little while. The highway actually is covered now.
It's covered.
Yeah. It's covered.
Between Market Street and Chestnut Street, it's covered. So
what will we be seeing this spring?
Grass.
So right now, so the structure is built. It's covered. You drive under it. It's basically a tunnel for that one block. And right now, what they're doing is starting the landscaping project. So Luther Ely Smith Square, which is that square park right next to the old courthouse, they're landscaping that, and then they'll put landscaping on the park over the highway, trees, new walkways. It's just going to be a really cool place to hang out and gather.
And CityArchRiver.org is
Right.
the website, so there's a webcam, you can see things in action, you can really keep up on the progress. I think one of the other exciting things is once you can seamlessly walk from downtown onto the arch grounds, you no longer have to go in at either leg of the arch, because you'll walk right into this brand new entrance.
That's right. So the entrance is being reoriented to the west side of the park, so on the city side. So as you mentioned, you as it stands now, you have to enter through the north and the south legs. Those will become exits. So you'll enter in this new entrance, and then you can exit out the legs. The other great thing about that setup is with the new entrance, you won't have to go through security the minute that you hit the door, like you do now. So
Which causes some delays and backups.
And lines in the dead heat of August in St. Louis, which is unpleasant. You've got lines out the door. You'll be able to go in the entrance, get in the air conditioning. You'll be able to buy your tickets for the trams, hopefully get a bite to eat, and then you can go through security then and go and enjoy the museum, which will be completely new, and then go to the top of the arch if you want to.
I don't know. That hot August weather sounds pretty good to me right now.
Right now it does.
It might sound good now, right? Yeah.
So, but there's still a lot in the planning stages too, in addition to that, right?
Well, you know, the design and planning for the Missouri side of the river is pretty much done because we're under construction. There's still some design work that's being done on Keener Plaza. But you know, construction is really the focus right now.
But eventually you plan to kind of draw Illinois into this whole concept.
So Illinois is definitely within, it's something that all project partners want to see happen. Eero Saarinen, the designer of the arch, his goal was to have a bi-state park, so a presence on each side of the river. And in the design competition we had, the winning design had Illinois included in that. So it included an aerial tram that went over the river and would drop you off at Malcolm Martin Park in Illinois, which is a great park. It includes the Gateway Geyser, which is the tallest fountain in North America. So we need to get Missouri done first, and eventually we would like to see Illinois brought into it.
The interesting thing, too, when you mentioned the museum is I don't think the museum currently has been updated, at least it doesn't seem like it's been updated for decades, but it's going to not only be brand new, but about 2 or 3 times the size that it is now?
Right, so as you said, the museum hasn't really been updated since it opened in 1976. It's gotten a couple little new things, but it will be completely new. So while the footprint of the museum exhibit area kind of stays the same, the visitor center is being expanded by 42,000 square feet. But the existing museum will close in February. So come see it now, see what it looks like now, because in 2 years, it's going to be a completely new experience.
Can't wait. CityArchRiver.org. That is Ryan McClure. We hope that you enjoyed this episode of St. Louis Presents.
We want to thank our guests and everyone at home for watching.
And join us again right here on STL TV. We'll see you next time.